Welcome to Bogglesocks TV. We've got lots of classic and original TV shows. Subscribe now and enjoy the video.
Grandpa in my pocket! It was the school holidays, and Grandpa, Jemima and I were playing a Captain Dumbletwit board game.
I get the planet Matoki!
I wanted that one! Mum and Dad were getting ready to go away for a few days.
I go.
The good news was that while they were away, Mr. Like-a-Biker was looking after the bike shop. Oh. And there's nothing Mr. Like-a-Biker likes more. The bad news was, guess who was looking after Grandpa, Jemima and me? Great Aunt Loretta, Grandpa's sister. Great Aunt Loretta is always making spinach and sprout shake, which we call green gloop.
Ooh, yum!
And all kinds of weird food that she thinks is yum.
Yum!
And she's often like this, or like this, or like this. And she makes Grandpa feel like this.
Oh.
Now then. And don't you chew my slippers, you bad boy. I know what you're like.
Aunt Loretta isn't keen on Beowulf. In fact, she isn't keen on animals at all.
You sure you're going to be all right, Aunt Loretta?
Yes, I'll look after them. I'm good at looking after things.
Oh, no.
What?
I just remembered.
What?
Looking after things.
What?
I'm supposed to be looking after something today for my friend Dory.
What?
This was what Mr. Scoffbucket the Goat.
Just a scoff bucket. I wonder why it's called that.
Aw, I think he looks really cute.
Beowulf didn't think Mr. Scoffbucket looked at all cute. He ran to the house and up to my bedroom.
Here are the instructions for how to take care of him.
Yes, it's just for today. Doreen will collect him this evening.
Are you sure you'll be all right?
Yes, we'll be all right. So will Mr. Scoffbucket. Don't you worry.
So Mum and Dad went off on their holiday, and we were left in charge of Mr. Scoffbucket.
Right, Jemima, now let's see this list.
No, leave it to me.
Oh, I have a way with goats. I can talk to them. They like me.
Don't be so silly.
Aw, I think he's so sweet.
Don't touch it.
I'll get a bucket for some water.
And Jemima went off to the garage in search of a bucket.
You never can tell with goats. I was once butted in the bottom by one. Oh, you think that's funny, do you? Get inside, the pair of you. Leave this to me.
So I followed Grandpa inside. But I didn't think for 1 second he would leave Mr. Scoffbucket to Great Aunt Loretta.
Now, don't do anything bad, you. Ugh. I'm going to do the washing, I am.
Well, Jason, if she won't let us help her, and she's sent us indoors, there's only one thing for it.
Not a shrinking cap, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can.
You know when Grandpa shrinks, all kinds of magical things happen. He can get into my car and make it go. He can chuff around in my Sunny Sands train. And he can even fly off in my plane. And that's what he did today.
Stop that plane, Jason! Stop it!
Great Aunt Loretta thinks my plane is radio controlled and that I'm making it go.
Oh, go and get the peg bag, you annoying boy.
At that moment, Grandpa landed my plane right next to Mr. Scoffbucket.
Don't worry, Mr. Scoffbucket. We won't let her be nasty to you. Just do as I say, and everything will be fine.
And Grandpa hid just as Jemima came back with the bucket.
Jason, your plane. Mr. Scoffbucket could have trampled all over that. Thanks.
Grandpa gone for a little lie down, has he? Oh, typical. Leaves me to do everything.
I'll look after Mr. Scoffbucket.
Me too! Oh, no, you can't. He's dangerous. And I'm in charge. What would your mother say if I let you get nibbled by a goat?
So off went Great Aunt Loretta with the bucket.
Now just you drink that and try and behave yourself. You kicked it, didn't you? You kicked the bucket. You should be called Mr. Kick Bucket, you should. He kicked the bucket. He's a bad goat. I knew it.
I'm not sure that was such a good idea. You'll only make her worse.
A little later, we all helped Great Aunt Loretta to hang out the washing. Suddenly, I saw Grandpa. He climbed a tree to get a better view. Grandpa was laughing at Great Aunt Loretta's washing. And I didn't blame him because it looked like this.
We'll go and get Mr. Scoffbucket's food ready.
Oh, you will you?
Great Aunt Loretta insisted that she should give Mr. Scoffbucket his food. So Jemima and I stood watching her. She once got butted in the bottom by a goat.
There. Now, don't spill it. Eat it nicely. Yum.
But Mr. Scoffbucket didn't think the food was yum. He kicked the bucket over. At that moment, I saw Grandpa jump out of the tree.
Oh, my ankle.
Then Grandpa climbed onto Mr. Scoffbucket's back.
Well, that wasn't very sensible, if you don't mind me saying. No, stay here.
But
No, don't-
Mr. Scoffbucket had a plan.
He did it. He butted me in the bottom. Oh.
Now, that really hasn't helped, has it?
Oh, get the peas, Jason. That's it.
So I went to the freezer to get the peas that we keep especially for these moments. Usually, Great Aunt Loretta hurts her toe, and we put the peas on that. This time, it was her bottom. Meanwhile, Mr. Scoffbucket was eating Great Aunt Loretta's pants.
He's eating me pants.
And at that moment, Mr. Scoffbucket pulled the washing line down.
Run. Oh, upstairs, come on.
And Grandpa came running in. I was hoping he had another plan, because we were desperate now.
We need help, Jason. We need someone strong and brave and... I know. Write me a note, quick.
So I grabbed a pencil, and Grandpa told me what to write.
Calm down, Great Aunt Loretta. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Fine, how can it be fine? He's knocked me over. He's eaten me pants. What's he going to do next?
He's running around the sitting room.
You see? He'll eat everything. And then he'll make a terrible mess. And then he'll probably go to the...
Great Aunt Loretta doesn't say the word toilet out loud because she thinks it's rude. I looked out of my bedroom window and saw Grandpa flying off in my plane. He'd gone for help.
Oh, I like a bottle with a slurpy, nozzly type thing.
Mr. Like a Biker was having a great time sorting things out.
Need more bottles?
And at that moment, who should fly in but Grandpa? As Grandpa flew over the counter, he dropped my note. Then, as quickly as he came, he was gone.
Hello, what's this? It's a note. Oh, it's from Jason. I missed him. Please come to the Mason house at once. Mr. Scoffbucket has eaten Great Aunt Loretta's pants. Oh no. I hope she wasn't wearing them at the time. Right, I must go. Yes, right. Here we go!
Soon, Grandpa was back home. I'll be right back. Mr. Scoffbucket had eaten a pile of newspapers and was halfway through Great Aunt Loretta's slipper. I ran outside to find Grandpa. Cap off, Grandpa, quick!
Don't worry, Jason. Help is on the way.
Never fear! Like a biker's here!
That way.
Oh, right.
We did it, Jason. Mr. Like-a-Biker will sort out Mr. Scoffbucket in no time.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Mr. Like-a-Biker led Mr. Scoffbucket out into the garden.
Come on, Philip.
Philip?
Yeah, it's his first name. Philip Scoffbucket. If you use their first names, they're always a lot more friendly.
So Philip Scoffbucket waited patiently to be collected, and we all tidied up inside. Later, everything was back to normal.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Like-a-Biker. I don't know what we'd have done without you.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I'm quite keen on goats.
Yeah, that's what Grandpa said. Oh, fat lot of help he was. He just went for a little lie down.
You wouldn't let me help. If you'd let me help, Mr. Scoffbucket wouldn't have eaten your slipper. Or your pants. Yum!
Sunny Sands is called Sunny Sands because it's sunny and it's sandy and it's right by the sea. I love staying here with my Auntie Jules and Uncle CJ. I love Miss Smiley's cafe and Mr. Whoops's shop and Bob's boat. Oh, and the lighthouse where Mr. Mentor the inventor lives and where he comes up with all his amazing inventions.
Ta-da!
And today, I was visiting Mr. Mentor with Uncle CJ.
Just look at this invention. Oh, how fabridiculous is that?
Mr. Mentor doesn't just invent things, he invents words too.
Spectacularly fabridiculous. So what is it?
What is it? What do you mean, what is it? It's obvious what it is. It's a spangly, jangly dangle dish, that's what.
Mrs. Ostrich likes it, don't you, Mrs. Ostrich?
Mrs. Ostrich has very good taste.
Dare I ask what it's for?
It's not for anything, CJ. It spangles and jangles and dangles. Well, just look at it.
Wonderful. Now, we called by to give you these, Mr. Mentor.
It's full of sparkly things. We thought you could use some of them in your inventions.
Oh, how marvelous. Oh, thank you. Oh, I love a good sparkly thing. Like this, for instance. How sparkly is this?
Wonderfully sparkly.
I can hardly tear myself away, but needs must. I'm off to a meeting of the most remarkable inventors of the universe. And I'm proud to belong, CJ. Proud to belong.
We'll give you a lift in Campo. Come on.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Wonder Bubble. Oh.
Now, Mr. Mentor wasn't the only one who loved his new invention. Someone else was keen on it. A bonglebird was watching. Bonglebirds love shiny things. And this bonglebird really loved Mr. Mentor's Spangly Jangly Dangle dish. Once we'd left Mr. Mentor at the meeting of the most remarkable inventors of the universe, I told Grandpa all about the new invention.
Well, at least it isn't for anything, Elsie. There's always trouble with Mr. Mentor's inventions if they're for anything.
No, it just dangles. It's for dangling.
Then it won't need my help.
But Grandpa was wrong. Mr. Mentor came home from his meeting and the bonglebird was on the table. She had ticked out all the sparkly bits and bobs.
Excuse me! Don't you dare pinch my sparkly bits. Shoo!
And Mr. Mentor shooed the bonglebird out of the window.
Shoo!
Then he saw his dangle dish again.
At least the bonglebird didn't steal my spangly jangly dangle dish.
But suddenly he noticed something.
Oh, my goodness. She didn't steal it. She laid her eggs in it. She thought it was a nice shiny nest. Oh no! Oh, Mrs. Bonglebird, come back. Come and sit on your nest and hatch your babies. All is forgiven.
But Mrs. Bonglebird did not come back.
Oh, how could I have been so mean? If the bonglebird doesn't sit on her eggs, they won't hatch. CJ will know.
And Mr. Mentor ran to his phone and dialed the number for the mill on the marsh.
CJ, it's Mr. Mentor. I've done a terrible thing.
You've done a terrible thing, Mr. Mentor.
A terrible thing?
Uh-huh. Yes. I see.
Oh dear. Eggs? A bonglebird? Yes, I do see the problem.
And Mr. Mentor told Uncle CJ about the terrible thing he'd done.
Elsie, we've got to go round Sunny Sands and help Mr. Mentor find a mummy bonglebird.
What's happened?
She's laid her eggs in the spangly jangly dangle dish.
Of course she has.
And Mr. Mentor shooed her away before he'd seen them.
Of course he did.
He's so upset.
Of course he is. And you know what bonglebird eggs are like? They hatch really fast.
So we have to find the mummy bird really fast. Elsie, put your toys away. We'll take Queenie. We'll start at the beach. Meet you downstairs.
It looks like Mr. Mentor's latest invention is going to need my help after all. You go to the beach, I'll go to the lighthouse.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can.
When my Grandpa shrinks, he can get up to lots of tricks. And his magic can make things go, like this. And this. And he can run really fast. And he's always hiding. Today, I couldn't find him anywhere.
Psst! I'm over here.
What's your plan?
Those eggs need to hatch, and someone's going to have to hatch them.
You can't hatch eggs, Grandpa.
I can't, but Mrs. Ostrich can.
And Grandpa climbed onto Mrs. Ostrich.
Elsie, hurry up!
Be careful, Grandpa.
I will.
So I set off for Sunny Sands Beach with Uncle CJ and Queenie. And Grandpa set off for the lighthouse on Mrs. Ostrich. But just after we left the meadow, someone arrived. It was Mrs. Bonglebird. She landed in her empty nest in the big tree. She looked very sad. She didn't know that Grandpa was about to help her eggs to hatch in the Dangle dish nest. He flew in through the lighthouse window. He landed very gently on the Dangle dish and got off Mrs. Ostrich.
Done. Shouldn't have to wait long.
We'd been all around Sunny Sands and there was no sign of the bonglebird. So back we came to the meadow. Mr. Mentor was very worried indeed.
I'm sorry I haven't got time to keep looking, Mr. Mentor. We have guests arriving very soon.
I know, CJ, but thank you. This is absolutely dreadful. I should never have shooed her away.
Cheer up. She's got to be somewhere.
She is. She's there. Look!
Oh, my ears. So she is. Oh, come down, Mummy Bongle. Come now, come with me and hatch your babies.
Oh, I think she's a bit afraid.
Well, of course she's afraid. I'm going straight to the lighthouse and invent something that will hatch out Mummy Bonglebird's babies.
I had to let Grandpa know that the mummy bird was here. I had an idea. Mr. Mentor, tell the eggs that their mummy's in the meadow at the mill.
Quite right. That might encourage them to hatch. Oh, your mummy is in the meadow at the mill. Yes, right, I've got it. See you later.
Back at the lighthouse, Grandpa was still waiting.
Not long now, little eggs. Do you hear me? Just be patient.
And just then, Mr. Mentor came back.
Mrs. Ostrich, how come you're here? Elsie must have left you this morning. But how did you get into my dangle dish?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Don't tell me. One of my inventions got you there. Oh, brilliosum. The things they get up to when I'm not looking. Now, which one?
Grandpa climbed higher so he could see the eggs.
So many of them. Now, don't you worry, little eggs. Your mummy is in the meadow at the mill.
And just then, this happened. Mrs. Ostrich started to jiggle. And one by one, the baby bungles hatched.
Oh, it's absolutely perfectable. Marvellous. Spectacular.
Then the baby bungles jumped up and down in the nest. And then they jumped up and down on Mr. Mentor.
Oh, you're very loud. Oh, ouch! Oh, what's that? You're very hungry. Oh, no.
Then Mr. Mentor realised something else.
You think I'm your mother? Right. Don't panic. I'm not your mother, but I'll go and find you some food. Worms. I'll go right now and find you some worms. Wait right there.
Grandpa knew he had to get them back to their real mother as quickly as he could.
Right, you lot. Mrs. Ostrich and I are going to give you a flying lesson. Follow me. You ready? Flap your wings, Mrs. Ostrich.
And the baby bungles copied Mrs. Ostrich. And soon, this happened. Out of the window flew Grandpa and Mrs. Ostrich, and the baby bungles followed. And soon, Grandpa and the baby bungles flew into the meadow. Grandpa! Grandpa landed Mrs. Ostrich next to the nest, and the baby bungles followed, and the mummy bunglebird went.
Go on, babies. That's your mother.
The babies hopped into the nest.
You're welcome. See you in a bit, Elsie.
Just then, Uncle CJ came out in a panic.
I'm in a panic. Mr. Mentor just called. The eggs have hatched, the birds have gone. He has no idea where they are.
I have...
Oh, they're back with their mum in their proper nest. How lovely. I'll go and call Mr. Mentor right away.
I ran inside to find Grandpa. Cap off, Grandpa, quick! Well done.
It wasn't me, it was Mrs. Ostrich, and I couldn't have done it without you. I wouldn't have known where the mummy bird was if you hadn't asked Mr. Mentor to tell the eggs.
Yes, that was a clever idea. Teamwork, yes?
Teamwork.
Mr. Mentor is so pleased. He says that one of his inventions must have taught the bonglebirds how to fly, but he has no idea which one.
Really?
This one, I think. Sunny Sands because it's sunny and it's sandy and it's right by the sea. There's so much to do. We can play on the beach or go to the harbour to see Bob's boat. Sometimes we go to Mr. Mentor's lighthouse or Miss Smiley's cafe. And don't forget Mr. Whoops's toy shop, the best toy shop in the world. Today, we were at home at the mill on the marsh. Josh had gone out, so I had Grandpa all to myself. I'm really lucky to have such a brilliant Grandpa. We love playing games together.
Space spiders, weave your webs.
And Grandpa knows some great stories.
And Norbert, the brave knight, saddled his trusty steed Humperdinck and galloped towards the castle.
We play with my dressing up dolls. And sometimes Grandpa borrows their clothes, which is really funny.
How do I look?
It's not easy having a Grandpa that can shrink, but it always works out all right in the end. We call it teamwork. Today, Grandpa and I were helping Auntie Jules with her latest hobby.
Just keep still, Elsie.
Hat decorating.
Wonderful.
I think it needs just a little bit more pink.
Just then, one of our friends turned up.
Riddle-dee-ree!
It was Mr. Yomper Stomper, smiling as usual and singing as usual.
Riddle-dee-ree, riddle-dee-ree, it's a rambler's life for me. Up in the mountains and down in the dales, rivers and waterfalls, valleys and vales, yomping and stomping through England and Wales, rambling and gambling free.
You're in a very cheerful mood this morning, Mr. Yomper Stomper.
Always, Grandpa, always. Here, have a leaflet. It's my latest scheme to bring joy and laughter to the residents of Sunny Sands. Donkey rides on the beach.
Yay! I love donkeys!
Oh, me too!
I think it's a wonderful idea. What time do the rides begin?
Half an hour ago. I've been so busy leafleting, I forgot.
Mr. Yomper Stomper is always forgetting.
Mustache Geronimo, that's my donkey. He'll be wondering where I've got to. See you there later, eh?
Yes, see you later.
If we go now, we can be first
idea.
I'm really looking forward to this. I haven't had a donkey ride since I was a boy.
Oh, Grandpa, I don't think you should ride the donkey. What if you fell off? It's too dangerous at your age.
I'm fitter than you think, you know.
But we'd be so worried about you. You can come with us, of course, but maybe just to watch.
Grandpa was sad. He really wanted to ride on a donkey. Grandpa decided to come to the beach with us anyway, so off we went in Campo. Auntie Jules drove us down the country lanes, over the bridge, past all the pretty coloured houses, until at last we got to the sea and our beach hut. Mr. Yomper Stomper let me be the first to have a ride.
I'll look after your hat, Elsie.
You look wonderful, Elsie.
Oh yes, we were all ready for Mr. Yomper Stomper's Donkey Day. But Geronimo wasn't moving.
Oh, fiddle-dee-fee. Sorry about this slight hiccup. Perhaps you better get off, Elsie.
So, Mr. Yomper Stomper helped me off Geronimo, and then Grandpa said...
Let me have a go, Mr. Yomper Stomper.
Oh, Grandpa, you mustn't ride the donkey.
I know how to get him going.
But you'll only make yourself tired. You haven't had your little lie down yet, have you?
No, not yet.
You'll feel so much better for it.
I knew what Grandpa was thinking, so I went after him.
I've got to have a go on that donkey.
But how? Auntie Jules isn't going to let you.
Luckily, I've brought this.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa.
Catch me if you can!
You know what happens when my Grandpa shrinks. He runs and jumps all over the place, and I can't catch him. He zooms about in Jason's car, and he goes chuff-chuff in the Sunny Sands train. And one of the best things he does is flying in the plane, doing big circles all around the room. He gets on my Mrs. Ostrich and makes her fly too. And sometimes he goes for a ride in my brother Josh's helicopter. He's so small, he can hide in teeny tiny places. And he can be very hard to find. He gets up to mischief wherever he goes. The toy shop, the cafe, Bob's boat, and now the beach. Grandpa wanted to get onto the donkey, but Mr. Yomper Stomper and Auntie Jules were there, so he couldn't.
Oh, bother.
Why don't we put his bucket of water way over there? Then he'll have to walk over there to get a drink.
Riddle-dee-ree, the best idea that there could be.
Grandpa had to duck out of the way. Auntie Jules put the bucket down, far away from Geronimo. We waited and waited. But the donkey wouldn't move.
I knew he wouldn't.
OK. Maybe he's hungry. What if we used a carrot instead?
Oh, riddle-dee-ree, the best idea that there could be.
No, I've got the best idea.
So Auntie Jules went to get a carrot, and Grandpa had to duck again. She put it down far away from Geronimo, hoping that he'd come to get it. We waited and waited, but still he wouldn't move.
He won't move. Fiddle-dee-fee, all the children are going to be so disappointed.
Don't be upset. Let me make you a nice cup of tea. There's a kettle in the beach hut.
But I'm supposed to be lying down in the beach hut.
Grandpa's supposed to be in the beach hut, but he's gone.
Gone?
I'm sure he's not far away.
I better go and look for him. Elsie, stay with Mr. Yomper Stomper.
I had to talk to Grandpa.
Oh, dear.
What am I supposed to tell Auntie Jules?
It'll be okay, Elsie. I've just got to find a way to get on the donkey without being seen. Any brilliant ideas?
Yes, I have actually. Wait here. Mr. Yomper Stomper, do you think Geronimo might be feeling too hot to walk?
I don't know, Elsie. Maybe.
Because he can borrow my big straw hat if he likes.
Really? Well, that's very kind of you.
Now that is a brilliant idea. Clever girl.
Riddle-dee-ree, he looks grand. I must take a photo.
While Mr. Yomper Stomper was looking for his camera, Grandpa climbed up the donkey's leg. Then he hid in the flowers on the hat. Grandpa began to whisper very softly in Geronimo's ear.
You ready, old chap? Shall we take a stroll down the beach? Come on. I know you can do it.
Smile, Geronimo.
Grandpa had to duck out of the way a third time. Then Auntie Jules came back.
I can't find Grandpa anywhere.
Here, borrow my binoculars. Hey, look, he's moving. Must be the hat. It works wonders. Come on, Geronimo.
Oh, Geronimo, this is wonderful. Makes me feel like a little boy all over again.
Grandpa had got his way at last. Auntie Jules looked and looked for Grandpa, but of course, she couldn't see him anywhere.
I can't see him anywhere. Perhaps he's gone to look at Bob's boat or to Miss Smiley's cafe for an ice cream.
Don't worry about Grandpa. I'm sure he's having a lovely time.
I'm going to have one last look, and if I can't find him, I'm calling the police.
This was a disaster. Just then, Geronimo came back. He was giving my friend Tommy a ride. Look at me, Dad.
Any sign of Grandpa?
I'm afraid not.
Stay with Elsie. I'll be back in a minute.
Whoa, Geronimo. Stop.
Whoa, Geronimo.
I had to get through to Grandpa. I needed a plan. That was great. Thanks. Dad, can I have an ice cream now? Auntie Jules is so worried about Grandpa that if she doesn't find him soon, she's going to call the police.
The police? Oh, no. I've got to go. Hope you can manage without me, old chap. Thanks for a fabulous ride.
Sorry, but I'm going to need my hat back.
Yes, of course.
So, Mr. Yomper Stomper gave me the hat, and I put it down on the sand. Grandpa escaped. He ran behind the beach hut. He took off his shrinking cap and came back to his normal size.
Not at Bob's boat or Miss Smiley's cafe. That's it. I'm calling the police.
No! Give him a few more seconds, please.
I'll do another tour of the beach, see if I can spot him. Come on, Geronimo.
I had no idea what Grandpa was doing now. Why hadn't he come out from behind the hut?
What's this hat doing in the sand? This is the last time I take Grandpa to the beach. The very last time.
And then this happened.
Look who I found.
Grandpa, where have you been?
Waiting for my ride, that's all.
We had a lovely afternoon on the beach, and then it was time to go home. So Auntie Jules drove us in Campo back the way we'd come. And Grandpa was so tired after all his adventures, he had a little nap. Soon we arrived at the mill on the marsh. Grandpa and I ran in ahead.
Oh, that was great fun, wasn't it?
Apart from Auntie Jules nearly calling the police.
True, but it all worked out fine in the end. Oh, but there's something we forgot to do.
What?
Teamwork.
Oh yes, serious. Teamwork.
What a lovely day. And it was all thanks to my hat.